It's Football Friday with Zach Gelb and Chase Sr. on Philadelphia's #1 college radio station, WHIP.
Yes, it's a Football Friday, the final one of the year. It's going to be the New England Patriots going up against the Seattle Seahawks in Glendale, Arizona. Brady and the Pats are looking for ring number 4, and Richard Sherman, Seattle Seahawks, are looking to repeat as defending champions. Now joining us on the hotline is a man that played with the New England Patriots, now with Passing Times Wine, along with Dan Marino, and that is former Patriots backup quarterback Damon Huard. Damon, Zach, and Chase here in Philly. Thanks for a few minutes. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, fellas. Just here in cloudy, dreary Seattle waiting for the big game on Sunday.
Well, we're actually in cold Philadelphia, and I was supposed to be in Arizona this week, but my flight got canceled due to the snow. So I guess I can't really complain too much about, or hear you complain too much about your weather in Seattle.
Yeah, no, it's actually, we kind of have this mild marine climate up here. It's been a nice winter, but a little foggy today, and everybody, obviously, the anticipation, waiting for the big game, going to be a lot of fun. I had a lot of friends trying to get down there, waiting to the last minute, hoping these prices will come down, hoping that much like you and Philly get stuck there in New England and don't make it, and the prices come down, but they're not. They're saying this is the most expensive ticket in Super Bowl history. Pretty cool.
Well, it's definitely going to be a special game, and I know Deflategate has dominated the conversation this week, but this is the best team in the NFC going up against the best team in the AFC, so it should be a fun one on Sunday. Let me take you back, though, to 2001, when you first met Tom Brady. Drew Bledsoe was the quarterback, and we all know Mo Lewis hit him when the Jets player Mo Lewis, and out went Drew Bledsoe. In comes Tom Brady. The next thing you know, you guys find yourself in the AFC Championship game. Then Brady goes down. Bledsoe comes back in, throws a big touchdown pass to lead on to the Super Bowl, where Brady beats the greatest show on turf in the Rams. Adam Vinatieri had that late kick as the clock was winding down. When you first met Tom Brady, what was your first impression of him?
You know, he was a super hard worker, no doubt about it, a great competitor, brought energy and enthusiasm to every single practice. I mean, it was his second year. You know, the Patriots kept him around in 2000 as the 4th quarterback. You know, he was a late-round draft pick, as we all know. And then, you know, I essentially was signed to be Drew Bledsoe's backup. I was coming from Miami. I'd been there 4 years. I played a little bit. And you know, Belichick screwed it up. The only bad decision he made was naming Brady number 2 and me number 3 way back when. But other than that, he had it figured out. But no, in all seriousness, Tommy is just an incredible competitor, you know, and a guy that's just taken this thing to new heights and a level of one of the greatest quarterback players in the history of the game. And it couldn't happen to a better guy, a harder worker, and just an amazing quarterback.
Obviously, when Belichick went to Brady at that time, they were confident in him, but no one in their right mind would have ever said, hey, this guy would have went on to become one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterbacks of all time, win 3 Super Bowls in 4 years and beat some pretty darn good teams in doing that. When Brady went down, what was the feel like in the locker room? I know you were kidding a little bit, but were guys confident with Tom Brady?
You know, I think so. I think they respected his work ethic and his leadership for a young guy. But it was hard. Certainly a lot of veterans on that team, and Drew had been the franchise quarterback for 9 years. And certainly there were question marks, again, when you haven't played before and haven't done it. But he answered the bell awfully quick. You know, Charlie Weiss did a great job as the coordinator that year. I think just bringing, you know, Tom Brady along, much like, you know, the Seahawks did with Russell Wilson his rookie year. You know, you don't just put it all on the quarterback. You know, we obviously had a great defense at the time. We were able to run the football with Antoine Smith. We were really good in the screen game. And Tom just had a great poise about him in the pocket and the ability to stand in there, much like he does to this day, where he's really refined that craft and throw the football at the last second. So, yeah, but it was a tough year. The one thing that you didn't mention, did a good job of summarizing that season, was our quarterback coach dropped dead in the middle of training camp, Dick Rabine, and it was awful. And literally a week into practice, he wasn't feeling real good, went to the hospital. We got a knock on our door that Coach Rabine had passed away. And, you know, they didn't hire a new quarterback coach. Charlie and Bill Belichick kind of both, you know, tag team coached us up. And it was a magical year. We always thought that Dick was watching down over us, making it happen, pulling the strings. And but certainly so many challenges that year. We put it all together, a magical season, won a Super Bowl, and I have so many great fond memories.
Damon Huard is our guest, WHIP Radio here in Philadelphia. Zach Gelb, Chase Sr. here with you. Damon, it's Chase. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, even if they don't win the Super Bowl, could go down as the best coach-quarterback combo in the history of the National Football League. What makes their combination and their relationship so special?
Two things. They're super bright guys, super intelligent, and then they're crazy competitive. And I think you combine those two things together, you make it work, and they are who they are. Like you said, this is their 6th Super Bowl now. Tom Brady, an opportunity to join football immortality with 4 Super Bowl rings, talking Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw. Never been done before. I think he's already in the question of the top 5 guys, but I think this puts to bed the Brady-Manning conversation that so many people like to have in this generation. And Bill Belichick, he's the greatest coach of all time. You might as well change that trophy from Lombardi to Belichick when he hangs it up. He's got it done, 6 times, many different players. Yes, he's had the same quarterback. There is no doubt about that. This is where it starts and ends. But to have gotten it done over a 15-year period with so many different faces in an era of the salary cap and parity in this league, Bill Belichick, for my money, is the greatest coach of all time.
NFL coaches are so close to the vest, and Bill Belichick just defines that to a T. And he's often smug with the media, but players rave about him. What kind of guy is he behind the scenes?
I loved him. He was like I said, super bright, intelligent, sense of humor, kind of bust your chops. Here's how not to do it. But you just like the guy, you respect the guy. And I did feel like, during that time, with him coaching the quarterbacks for a couple of years there, that we did get to kind of see him in a little different light than most players on the team. He'd spend a lot of time watching film with us. And we got to get into the mind and into the thinking and learn the way that he prepares and studies and breaks down opponents. And it was special. It was tough. It wasn't easy. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, when you win the way that we did, you respect it. And at the end of the day, just trying to win football games, working together, and had a great time doing so.
And working off that, Damon, he is able to just drown out the outside noise. And he seemed to have just done that this week with the whole Deflategate controversy clouding over the Patriots organization. How is he able to get his players to focus on the task at hand and drown that outside noise out?
He really is good in that team meeting room in front of the guys. And I could just see him here, holding the football in one hand, like, really? Throwing it around the room, maybe to a defensive tackle. This has 11 PSI. Does it feel flat to you? Come on, guys. We're playing in the Super Bowl here, and we're talking about my old flat balls. I could just hear him saying something like that. And he'll just put it in perspective and take some adversity and some negative conversation and noise outside the building and just wash it down the drain and get everybody's attention and focus on the task at hand, and that's winning the Super Bowl. Nobody does it better than Bill Belichick.
Take me back to the 2 times you won with the Patriots, because Christian Fourier, your former teammate, was on with us right before you, and he was saying he cannot wait for Bill Belichick's pregame speech to hear the players' reaction about it after the game, because he thinks it's going to be special. What did Bill Belichick say to you guys when you beat the Rams and the Panthers before the game?
Well, I don't remember the second one as much, or the first one as much for some reason, but I certainly remember the second one. And I think the great thing about it is Bill never, there was not a lot of mention of the first Super Bowl, the past two, all the success, none of that. So even in the building today, there's very little. I know they have a Hall of Fame thing, but if you walk into the daily offices and the weight room, the locker room, there's not a lot of mention of past success. And, I do remember the kind of a speech before we played the Panthers in 03, 04, him kind of reaching under a table where the projector was or whatever and pulling this thing out. And it was the Lombardi Trophy, which, again, it wasn't out and everyone could see at the time. And he's like, guys, this is what you're playing for tomorrow. This is something no one can ever take away from you for the rest of your lives. And what an opportunity, what a moment, all that you've accomplished. I do remember him just, because there wasn't a lot of mention. And when he did do it, it meant a lot. So I do remember him pulling that thing out from under the table and just kind of getting those goosebumps and knowing that we could be a better part of NFL history in 24 hours. And that was certainly memorable. And he was really, really a good speaker. I know the media wouldn't think that, but he really is.
Can you just go a little bit further into it with talking about the whole Deflategate? When you take a look, I know it's changed a lot over your period in the league as we're talking to Damon Huard, former Patriots backup quarterback. Going through the preparation of the football, how did you prepare your football? How did you and Tom get those football ready to go for a game?
Yeah, well, from what I remember, everywhere I was, 4 years with the Dolphins, 3 with the Pats, and 5 with the Chiefs. We'd always go in Saturday, kind of late morning, early afternoon, right after the walkthrough, and you'd lay out kind of all 30 footballs that you've been practicing with for the last week, maybe the previous week's game balls, and you would just kind of get a grip and a feel for them, and you'd throw them in the game ball bag, And I never really ever remember worrying about the pressure. For me, it was always about the grip and the feel, especially kind of the back panel where my thumb would go. To me, I really wanted the pebbles, the grain of the leather right there. And some of the balls are flat. Some of the grains of leather are a little more pebbly, if that makes any weird sense. So for me, it was always about the grip and the feel, not so much the PSI or the pressure. I just, whether it was 13 or 11, I could certainly tell if the ball was all the way jacked up, way too much like a punter might want it, or way too flat to even where I would like it. But for the most part, and much like these officials, what it sounds like, you walk into a room, you feel the ball, you grip the ball, yep, that one's good, that one's good, okay, I like this, that one's got a good grip. So this whole PSI thing is crazy. And I went and did the Pepsi Challenge myself, went to the Husky equipment room with an old NFL football. I put it at 13. I said, God, that thing's jacked up. I put it at 11. I said, God, that feels like every football I've ever thrown in my life. So I just think this whole thing is ridiculous. Much like it's come out now, the officials didn't properly stick a gauge in every single football. They just stuffed them by hand like everyone else and said, oh, that's fine.
I grew up watching those Patriots teams, so I'm a big Patriot fan. I'll not hide that from you or any listener that's tuned into the interview right now on WHIP as we're talking to Damon Huard. Ken Walter was my password on my computer for a bunch of years. So I remember actually your preparation for the 0-3 game up against the Colts in the playoffs. And right now, Jimmy Garoppolo is trying to be the role of Russell Wilson in practice. How imperative is that backup quarterback role in trying to show what the other team's offense is going to do in a practice?
Another incredible trait of Bill Belichick. Even though I was the slappy backup quarterback holding the clipboard, he made me feel as important to that team as Tom Brady. And and he would, story told, whatever, got the game ball after that AFC Championship game. But it was all week in practice. I mean, it was, okay, Damon, go watch film of those Colts. Go watch Peyton Manning, get his play action fakes down, get his terminology, his verbiage, all that fun stuff, and help this football team give a chance to win this game on Sunday. So he did a great job of defining guys' roles, and that was my role at that time, to be that backup quarterback. And it's so important. I guarantee you right now, Belichick, as much as he's talking to Brady about what his game plan was got to do, he's talking to the backup quarterback about the way he's got to prepare the defense in practice as the scout team guy. That's the length that he goes to, but it also makes you feel an important part of the team even when you're not out there between the lines on Sunday.
Damon, last one for me. Robert Kraft is one of the best front office guys in the history of the league. His presence has just been paramount. When he walks into a room, it seems like he's just the guy that everybody sits down, shuts up, and just listens. What type of guy is he?
No, just a true pro, an incredible businessman, also genuinely cares about the players and takes pride in those relationships with the guys. Again, he was another guy. I was just a backup player, but he certainly, made me feel a part of the Patriot family. And I have incredible memories, both Mr. Kraft and Jonathan, and all that they did for me in my time as a Patriot, making me feel a big part of the program there.
Before we let you run, we'll get to Passing Times Wine in just a few seconds and the great product you have with Dan Marino. This is the ultimate chess match on the offensive side of the ball for the Pats going up against the Legion of Boom. And I know there's some health concerns for the Seahawks corners, but it looks like they're all going to play at a high level as they always do. You've been in the Pats locker room for years. You know what it's like to prepare for going up against a big-time defense. What kind of offensive performance do you expect from the Pats going up against the LOB on Sunday?
Yeah, it's going to be a great matchup, and I think it's why the worst ticket in the stadium is $8,000 right now.
Jeez.
Love the idea of these Patriot offense and 2 weeks of Bill Belichick scheming to attack one of the better secondaries we've seen in pro football in a long time. How are they going to do it? The Patriots are so so good at that short passing game. You know, I got to believe they're going to find ways to attack the one weakness of that Seahawks defense, and that's kind of the nickel corner. You know, when they get there in the slot with those guys, or maybe it's Gronk kind of flexed out there, that's going to be a fascinating thing to watch. Also, the Seahawks linebackers, you know, as physical and as talented and as athletic as they are, they have been beat, you know, in space, in the passing game, especially when they're in their zone. And no one's better at looking those guys off than Tom Brady and putting that ball accurately on time, in rhythm, you know, where it needs to be. So I think that short passing game against that underneath coverage of the Seahawks is just going to be critical. And Tom definitely's got to be patient with it, you know, forcing the ball deep down the field, you know, against Richard Sherman, with the help on the back end with Cam Chancellor. Probably not the right thing to do, but if they can get that short little passing game going, they're going to have some success moving the football, mix it in with the run. You know, that's definitely going to be the key for them to sustain drives and score points.
We all know fans like to enjoy themselves when they're watching football. Tell me why and where fans could go out and get a little bit more about passing time wine and what you teamed up with Dan Marino if they want to down a bottle during the game and watch their team win the Super Bowl.
You got it, Zach. Thanks. Yeah, big cab for the big game. Yeah, Dan Marino and I, my former teammates, we always said one day when I was done playing football, we'd make a Washington State Cabernet together, and we've teamed up to do that. We released our wine here in a couple months. In April, we've launched the brand. We just got 94 points in the Wine Advocate. We're super excited. It's a little bit cheaper than Drew Bledsoe's wine out there, too. So, yeah, check out passingtime.com. Get on our mailing list. You can pre-order some right now. We'll ship it out there to Philly for you, and love to get you on our list. So thanks for supporting us.
It's fantastic. Dick Vermeil every year at the Super Bowl walks around with 2 big bottles of wines, makes it feels like you're going to get a bottle of wine, sits it down, you're talking about the wine. Drew Bledsoe's all big into the wine. What is it with you former quarterbacks and coaches about making wine?
You know, after playing the game, let's drink a little wine, right? You know, actually for me, it kind of goes back to my roots. In Washington State, there's this mountain range that kind of runs through it, and eastern Washington's very arid, desert-like, and agricultural community. And my family kind of grew up over there. My great-grandparents were some of the first grape growers in the state of Washington in the early 1900s. So I'm kind of getting back to my roots and getting into the wine business. Got some great fruit, an amazing winemaker, and like I said, it's kind of been years in the making. It kind of all came together about 2010, and now we're finally releasing our first wine. It's a labor of love, but a whole lot of fun, and we can share it with family and friends and pass the time.
Well, Damon, we'll get the word out in Philly. We appreciate a few minutes today. Thanks so much. Enjoy the game on Sunday.
Hey, you guys too. Great chatting with you. Have a great day.
All
Thanks,
right,
Damon.
there's Damon Huard joining us on the hotline right there.